Proposition 31.
Hi, thank you. Sonia Pettick again. Proposition 31 would ban in-person stores and vending machines from selling most flavored tobacco products and tobacco product flavor enhancers. It is a referendum on Senate Bill 793, which was a law passed in 2020. SB 793 did not take effect in 2021 as planned because this referendum qualified for the ballot. So now voters will be weighing in on whether to put SB 793 into effect. So importantly, because referenda can be a little confusing, I thought I'd make a note about what a yes and no vote mean, and thank you for that slide as well. So voting yes on Proposition 31 means that SB 793 goes into effect. In other words, the ban on the sale of certain flavored tobacco products would go into effect. Voting no means 793 does not go into effect. The flavor ban in Proposition 31 does not apply to shisha tobacco, certain cigars, and loose leaf tobacco. And Proposition 31 would charge a penalty of $250 for each violation of the requirements. Before I pass it over to my colleague Seth Kirstein, who is going to discuss the estimated fiscal impact of Proposition 31, I want to mention a few things about current flavored tobacco rules, because there are many rules at the federal, state, and local levels, and they can change on a sort of regular basis. So since 2009, federal law has banned cigarettes from having flavors, with the exception of menthol. However, the Federal Food and Drug Administration recently proposed a rule to also ban menthol cigarettes, as well as all flavored cigars. The FDA is still deciding, however, whether or not to finalize this rule. The FDA is also responsible for authorizing new tobacco products. And as of June, it had authorized fewer than 50 new tobacco products, including 23 electronic products, which are all tobacco flavored or unflavored. The FDA has denied authorization to more than 1 million flavored electronic tobacco products. In 2020, the FDA also began stepping up enforcement against certain unauthorized electronic products, particularly those that are marketed toward youth. The state and local governments can also have additional rules about tobacco. So for example, many local governments have bans against certain sales of flavored tobacco products, and about a third of Californians live in such areas. California charges tobacco taxes on cigarettes, including electronic tobacco products. And last year, these taxes raised about $2 billion. And a majority of this funding supports healthcare programs. I'm now going to turn it over to Seth to go over the estimated fiscal impact of Proposition 31.
Thanks, Sonia. Seth Kirstein with the Legislative Analyst's Office. Prop 31's main fiscal effect is a likely reduction in state tobacco tax revenues. In particular, we estimate that this revenue loss likely would be in the range of tens of millions to around $100 million per year. Where we end up in that range depends on a variety of factors, most notably how consumers respond to the measure. Prop 31 also would affect state and local government healthcare costs. The measure likely would reduce tobacco consumption, which in turn would improve health. And at least in the short term, that could result in lower government healthcare costs. Over time, better health could lead to people living longer, which could lead to higher healthcare costs. So the sign of the measure's longer run effect on government healthcare costs is unclear. That's all we've got. I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you very much. If you have your hand raised, if you go ahead and put your question in the Q&A, that's how we can answer them. So the tobacco companies put this on the ballot. They wanted to overturn the existing law. So it's a referendum on a law that was already passed, and they want it to go away. The Democratic Party is in support and the Republican Party is in opposition. The governor is specifically in support as well. supporting banning the tobacco is the American Lung Association, the American Heart Association, SEIU Union, the California State PTA. In opposition, we have American Snuff Company, Philip Morris, RJ Reynolds. It's a bunch of tobacco companies, essentially. And then in support, as far as newspapers go, we have a bunch of newspapers: San Jose Mercury News, San Francisco Chronicle, LA Times, etc. And then in opposition, we have a couple: the Orange County Register and the Daily Breeze. And then when we look at the spending, Michael Bloomberg has weighed in on this and put some money into the yes side, as has, well, some money, $5 million almost, well, $4+ million. Kaiser Permanente, the healthcare organization, has put over $1 million. California Teachers Association, Cancer, Lung, Heart Associations, etc. Healthy California too. And then the no side, it's tobacco companies, essentially. So the supports, this money is so out of date that I actually just want to change it, which I will later, but you can see that there is actually more money in support for this particular measure. What questions do you have on 31?
Not seeing any questions in the Q&A so far.
Okay, we'll give you a minute if anybody wants to pop a question in there on Prop 31. We've got some folks who can answer them.
Okay, so we do have one question, which is asking whether this proposition primarily impacts menthol tobacco.
This proposition definitely would impact menthol cigarettes, but it would also have an effect on electronic tobacco products that are flavored, or tobacco product flavor enhancers, which is flavor that you can add to to an electronic tobacco product to add a flavor to the device. And so what we mean by electronic tobacco products are e-cigarettes, vapes, pods, mods, etc.
That appears to be the only one.
Okay, well, thank you so much. All right, so I promised that I would give you some resources that you can go to look at the arguments or further information that people might want to get for that. Cal Matters has an excellent voter guide that does go over the main arguments and has some links to the newspaper endorsements that some people were asking about. Voters Edge and Ballotopedia have similar sorts of content. The IGS Berkeley Library has, they compile things like the polling data and the articles that are written about each of the measures. They'll actually usually have a link to this as well on there. And of course, the LAO, if you want to look at more detail at what these folks have put together on these issues, and the official voter guide. And Voters Edge, if I didn't mention that one, that's very good too. So I would check out any or all of those if you're interested in digging a little bit deeper, if you're still not sure on some of these measures. I'd like to really thank the College of Social Sciences and Interdisciplinary Studies at Sacramento State that supported this work. The Political Science Department, obviously the LAO. It's been so fantastic to have them help us sort these things through. They're folks who actually know what they're talking about and can give us some pointers. And then the Sacramento Public Library for putting this on for so many years. Speaking of the Sacramento Public Library, they will be having events through October at various library branches around the region, where they will show these videos in person so that people can come together and discuss the initiatives. Once you have your actual ballot, you can go through it. So look for those at saclibrary.org. And then these will be made into videos per initiative. And those will be available on the PI website. I know that's a long URL. Again, if you just Google Project for an Informed Electorate, which is maybe also kind of long, but if you Google that, you can find those videos available. And I'll also send an email to anybody who was registered for this when those are available. They will also have a version with Spanish subtitles. So if you have anyone you want to share these with, if you want to have a watch party or suggest a watch party, we certainly encourage that. These are useful for any California voter. And so we'd appreciate anybody's help in getting these to as many voters as possible this time around. We're doing this a little bit earlier than we've done in the past, so hopefully there's time for folks to get those videos shared with as many people as possible. So again, thank you so much for being here. Have an excellent night, and we hope that you are better informed and ready to vote. Thanks to everyone who participated and helped with this, and we'll see you in 2 years. Have a good night.